This is Chengdu. You've probably never heard of it, but it's the fourth biggest city in China, bigger than London or New York. And on the subject of things that are big, welcome once again then to the Met-Rx World's Strongest Man competition. It's the second group of qualifying, and just 2 of the 5 athletes in this event will make it through to the final. The first event is the carry and drag. They've got 75 seconds to carry a huge anchor and drag an even bigger chain, and our commentary team is led by Nick Halling.
Thanks, John. Let's meet the big boys then. Sol Batai from South London, originally from Iran, and he is flying in Iranian colours here in China. And alongside him from Iceland, Boris Haraldsson. Iceland, of course, with such a rich tradition in strongman. He's a popular fella. Elbrus Nigmatulin of Russia. Russia's strongest man, former European arm wrestling champion as well. Alongside him, Mark Philippi from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, where he's the strength and conditioning coach for the American football team. Very experienced competitor. And here's Ralph Baer, the fireman from Vienna, rounding out the quintet. It's a very experienced field.
Take your positions!
And they're underway. 4 of these fellas know all about this event. And on the far side, Sol Batai is the new man. Now, who's in the lead? It's Nigmatulin and Baer neck and neck.
Well, I'm not sure this is all about experience at the moment. It's all about speed. And it's very, very tight indeed. Philippi, the oldest man in the competition, 40, perhaps sitting in last.
Well, Batai starting to feel the heat on the far side, but no problems for Ralph Baer. And Elbrus Nigmatulin looks like he's going to get second. And what a late charge from Philippi. He's got third as Haraldsson falls down. But look who's standing tall. It's Ralph Baer, the Austrian. A comfortable winner. But what a finish from Philippi. He went from 5th to 3rd.
A brutal event to start this competition on, but look at the speed of Ralph Baer there. 100 kilos, completely manhandling it, treated it like nothing.
Certainly did. A fast start from the Austrian.
So just over a second in it at the end, but Ralph Baer taking maximum points. And the big Austrian, having failed to get past the qualifying rounds in 2 previous attempts at World's Strongest Man, and on both occasions by just half a point, has taken an early lead. Will it be 3rd time lucky for him? Let's see what he's up against in this second qualifying round.
Boris Haraldsson, Iceland. Elbrus Nigmatulin, Russia. Sol Batai, Iran. Ralph Baer, Austria. Mark Philippi, USA.
So coming up next, the giant log lift.
75 seconds here, 840 pounds in weight. That's about 287 on the hands. It's repetition within that time limit.
And first up, Boris Haraldsson, who had a chance at 3rd spot in that first event, only to stumble at the finish line and allow Philippi to get back in. Let's see what he can do here.
But you can see he's using his legs very well, has a claim to the strongest legs in the world after doing some world records earlier in the summer in powerlifting.
Can you see how red it is?
Well, you got to know how to work a crowd if you want to be the world's strongest man. Now he's taken his breather after 8 lifts. What else has he got? He's certainly going to want more than 8, that's for sure.
With this kind of weight on the shoulders, 132.5 kilos. very, very difficult to do reps. The lactic acid builds up quickly, and I think it's quite sensible to take a break.
13, 14.
Well, this is a little bit more like it. Well, he got 8 on his first series. Now a bit of dancing. But the number of reps is going down. He had 8 in his first series, 6 in his second series. Let's see what he can do here on his third series. He's going to struggle to get 2. Now he might not be dancing and joking.
I think it's one of these events that when your triceps have gone, there's such small muscles at the back of your arms. When they've gone, it's absolutely no way you'll pull another repetition out.
Well, Boris looks happy enough with 15.
You see there, driving it up, using his legs well. And I think some of the more inexperienced athletes might just try and press this out with their arms.
Fortunately for Boris, you don't get bonus points for your dance moves. Now let's see what Mark Philippi can come up with, the 40-year-old American.
Okay, lift.
I remember on his first group, Haraldson
2,
managed to put 8 together
3,
and finished with 15. Philippi so far getting good reaction from those knees. Look how deep the knees are bending.
Well, it's just amazing, really. Back in '98, world's strongest man damaging his legs. Dropped a car on himself, and I tell you what, you don't want to do that. I wouldn't like to see this log go down on him either.
And it's good to see the spirit within the competitors. It's Boris Haraldson that's leading the cheers for Philippi.
10.
Just wondering what Philippi's car looked like after he'd dropped it on himself. I think the car probably came off worse than he did.
Well, car flipping, we don't see it much anymore, but I tell you what, Philippi has got phenomenally strong shoulders. Maybe he needs to take a break. He's got a little bit of time.
But as we saw with Haraldson, once it starts to go, it's very difficult to get it back. And he's got to go a bit to match Haraldson's 15. Can he find 3 more?
Well, Haraldson cheering him on, but I wonder just how much he wants to see him do another 4 repetitions.
He might have been cheering then, yes, and it's 1. And that might be it for the American. Indeed it is. He walks away. 13.
Well, bodybuilders talk about the pump, don't they? When your muscles swell up with blood. You can see just how pumped up Philippi is there. His shoulders absolutely gorged. And he was worth no more after that. That was just a no more with that 13th rep.
Elbrus Nigmatulin, the Russian.
Okay, take your position. Lift. 1.
Both the previous 2 lifters have gone to 8 and then stopped.
4.
Let's see if Nigmatulin
5.
can get that far.
6.
Come on, Russia, it's easy.
7.
Come on, people.
See Haraldson giving him a bit of a lift as well, and he goes to 8 and he's carrying on.
No lift.
Well, no lift given there. That was controversial. And so he settles for 9, but he doesn't look very happy about it at all, does he? He thinks it should be 10.
Well, I'm guessing there it was a double movement with the legs. You're allowed to drive up once, but it is a push press. That means the legs have to stay locked after that initial movement.
11.
Well, now the Russian just has to put that behind him and carry on and try and go for that 15, and he looks like he's in trouble. Philippi, remember, 13.
One more.
And the Russian may struggle to get that far, and I wonder if that no lift might have just upset his rhythm here, because you've got to mentally concentrate on this as much as physically. And is he thinking about that no lift? Well, he's gone to 12. This to Tai Philippi, and he's not going to get it. Well, real disappointment. He's not yet walking away, but now he has given up. 12 he has to settle for. You just wonder about that no lift and whether that messed up with his mental preparation.
Well, he's going against a couple of the best lifters in the world, so he's trying to squeeze out an extra rep there, and you can see his double movement drove up, but as he came down, his legs bent again for a second time.
Up there in first place after 1 event. Very popular with this crowd. Maybe the crowd have taken to all these wonderful athletes.
Lift.
So 15 to beat.
1. 2.
Now It'll be interesting to see how many he does in a block, because Nigmatulin had 9, but finished with the lowest score so far. The other two fellas stopped at 8. Well, he's got 8 very easily, hasn't he?
9.
I'm not sure if these tactics are sensible, though. You sit at the bottom there without resting it. Well, he has now rested. That was a good move by him. He can take a few seconds breath here.
10 without a pause, but is he going to pay the price?
12.
12, he's level with Nigmatulin.
13.
He's level with Philippi.
14.
He's just behind Haraldsson. But is he going to get that 15th lift? Listen to that crowd. Look at Haraldsson looking on. Can he find another one? It doesn't. Is he going to make... Oh, what a tremendous second effort. 15. And I think he's going to sign off with that.
Well, he managed just to lean back there and press it up with his chest. Didn't look very good for your lower back, but it worked.
And how crucial will that final lift be come the end of this heat? Bear and Haraldsson sharing the points, and Mark Philippi, 13 reps, and only good enough for 3rd spot.
I'm down here with Ralph Bear. 15 reps in the log press. That was impressive. What did the last one feel like?
It was the hardest repetition I ever do in my life before I did powerlifting, but I never had so a hard repetition. I'm thinking about my little girl. She's 13 weeks old, and I do it for her and for me to come to the final. It's very important for me that I win the first 2 events, the second league, the same place for like Boris.
Well, Boris, you were looking on when Ralph did that. Did you think he had any kind of chance of making that 15th rep?
I didn't think anybody could catch me, but my hat goes off for him. This is one tough Austrian guy, so I'm happy also. 15 is very good.
It is very good. Congratulations to both of you guys. Keep up the good work.
This heat has the makings of being a real epic. Bear may have won the first 2 events, but you know it's going to be tight right to the end. Just 3.5 points separating the top 4. Now, Chengdu is the capital of China's Sichuan province, and it covers a total of almost 5,000 square miles. The history of Chengdu can be traced back almost 2,500 years, when the first emperor built his capital here and named the city. And translated literally, Chengdu means perfect metropolis.
Well, most fellas would love to get their hands on a few barrels of beer, but not quite like this. This is the squat lift, and those barrels of beer will punish you physically.
Starting weight here, 225 kilograms. And then as each barrel goes in, you have to take the weight and squat the next one up to a maximum 365 kilos.
Come on.
Sol Batai, his brother Ali here as well. And Sol, a first-timer at the World's Strongest Man. And he's finding out what running with the big dogs is all about so far, but hopefully he's enjoying his experience. I wonder how much he's going to be enjoying this, though.
He is a former junior British powerlifting champion and record holder.
Well, he's got through 2 reps, but that second one seemed to take a lot out of him, and some of these other fellas will fancy a good 4 or 5, so Sol's got to really push this, and he can't get to 3.
Well, just a couple of kilos less on the bar there, and I'm sure he'd have made that 3rd lift. He's got huge legs on him. I think perhaps just the position this machine puts you in tends to squeeze you backwards, a little like a mousetrap, something he's definitely not used to.
So, was it heavier than you expected it to be?
It was heavier than I expected, yes. It felt a bit strange because I've never been on such a bar, usually just squatting from an actual squat rack. So yeah, it did feel a lot stranger, but it was difficult.
Just missed out on going into 1st place. Are you disappointed?
I'm disappointed, but there's still 3 more events to go, so we'll see what happens.
Good attitude.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yes, a very positive attitude from Sol Batai, but here's a man who always wears a smile on his face, Boris Haraldsson.
It's a great honor to be competing World's Strongest Man, and something I've wanted to do since I was a small kid, so it's like a dream come true. It doesn't matter which country you go to. If you tell people you're from Iceland, oh, Iceland, very strong man. 2 former champions, 4 times World's Strongest Man each. John Paul Simmerson first, then Magnus Sverre Magnusson after that. John Paul Simmerson is like the Icelandic idol to all kids and everybody. It doesn't matter which Icelander you speak to, everybody knows John Paul. It's a huge pressure because normal people don't really realize how hard it is to win the World's Strongest Man, because now we have an Icelander who's competing in World's Strongest Man, so they're thinking like, huh, we got a new champion. So it's quite a bit of pressure.
Well, Boris always says he draws on inspiration from the Nordic gods when things are going tough. He looks to Thor for inspiration. He'll need inspiration here. He's seen Solbatai go through 2 reps. Well, there's the first one, looked good. And the second one is looking good as well.
Nice rhythm there. Seems to be taking the pain quite well as well. It really is agony as these 70+ kilo barrels drop down and in. Not one for the chiropractors to watch this.
Certainly isn't. Can he go to 5? Yes, he can, but now the going gets really tough. And Haraldsson taking a long look at that, but it was too much. 5 will have to do for Haraldsson, but that's pretty good.
I think the Icelander will be ecstatic with that. It's a great start to the World's Strongest Man competition for him, showing off his powerlifting strength, and he did set some world records earlier in the year with his legs. Slightly different squat, but a good effort.
Up next, the overall leader, Ralph Baer. And really, Colin, the trick is with this, as we sort of look back at Haraldsson there, he knew when to give up. There is a danger in overstretching yourself, isn't there? You've got to know when the thing has got you beat.
Well, Ralph Baer's a very experienced competitor. Looks very deep there, though, doesn't he? I wouldn't like to be going quite that low in my lower back, and it was quite cute there. You saw that photograph album from his child that he's taken away with him from Vienna.
Yes, his baby daughter, that's where he's going to be getting his inspiration from. He's got through the first 4 without any problems whatsoever. Here's 5, and it's a good time as well. But can he really set the bar high for everybody else? If he can achieve this one, he's still going, and he's got there. But 6 is where it ends for Ralph Baer, but that's good enough for the lead.
Well, he didn't fancy getting trapped at the bottom there. I think we'll dub this the mousetrap machine, because it does hurt to go all the way deep. Doing the sensible option there, taking the 6th repetition, finishing it off, and he knows when he's beaten. Wasn't going to go for that last one.
Yep, come on, very intelligent.
Come on now! Come on!
Now, Mark Philippi psyching himself up in the time-honoured American way. The most experienced man here, his 7th World's Strongest Man, but he's not made the final for a few years. You've got to go back to 1998 to see the big man from Nevada. Now, what can he do here?
He strapped his knees up very well. Had a lot of problems over the last few years with his knees, quite a lot of operations, but look at the speed of his legs. He does a lot of training in the gym, as you would have expected from a fitness trainer at UNLV.
This is looking good. 5 down and a fast time as well. 6. I think he will take the lead even if he doesn't make the 7, and he's going to make the 7. That was impressive. Good lifting and a fast time as well. Mark Philippi though, oh hello. It looks like he may have paid the price for that. He definitely grabbed at his left leg as he came away.
30.25 seconds. That was very impressive stuff from Philippi. The last barrel drops in, takes the weight, goes deep enough, comes back up. And I wonder where he's done the damage. If he'd done it earlier, that would have been agony to do.
Mark, all 7 barrels, you won the event. What's up with the quad?
I felt something pull on both sides. Second in the last barrel, and the last one, I've just felt my way through the lift to see how it was going to be, and you kind of lifted it with my back.
Well, despite that injury to his quad, Mark Philippi good enough to win that squat lift ahead of Ralph Baer, but that's a pretty solid performance from the Austrian. It does mean, though, the American's right in contention at the halfway spot. Baer has a 2.5-point cushion, but it's wide open, although Solbatai seems to have too much to do down at the foot. Things you never knew about China, number 2. The very first postal service in the world was established in China in the 2nd century BC. Well, the crowd was great, I must say. So now it's time for the pig's lung. See you shortly. Welcome back to Chengdu in China and the Met-Rx World's Strongest Man competition. We're halfway through Heat 2, and it's time to see an old favourite. It's time for the truck pull, and let's go back to our commentary team, headed by Nick Halling.
So the truck pull in so many ways symbolises the world's strongest man, and it really is very simple. 75 seconds to pull a 16,000-pound truck over 25 metres. Fastest man wins. Well, Sol Batai found the going very difficult, very upright. Got the arms going, but didn't really use his legs to good advantage. And Sol, who found this a really painful event, would have to settle for 17 metres. Ralph Baer came in certainly looking confident, and he got his technique going. Everything working for him. Good coordination, arms and legs in harmony, and the 25 metres successfully covered in a time of 40.46. So the Russian Elbrus Nigmatulin knows what he has to do. 40.26 is his time.
Take the strain.
You would expect a man of his experience to certainly complete the course. The question is, how quickly can he do it? And you look at it and you just think, well, it's just a matter of pure raw power. But Colin, there's so much technique to this event.
One of the things you have to do is utilize your body weight as well as use your power. And by putting your back almost flat to the ground, you can drive forward through your legs, through the harness. And of course, let's not forget using your arms. You have to keep that rope tight, very taut. If it were to stop the truck, it would start rolling backwards here. It is on a slight incline as well.
Well, he's got Baer's time in his sights. Going past 30 seconds, but he's going to smash the 40.46 of the Austrian Ralph Baer. The clock stops at 37.13. Terrific pull from Elbrus Nigmatulin. He goes into the lead.
Well, one of the things Nigmatulin does well is arms and legs driving exactly the same time. So he's really hitting it with double power there.
Absolutely exhausted, but a good pull. And up next, Mark Philippi, whose background is American football. He's a strength coach.
I don't know what motivates me sometimes. Sometimes I think, well, you know, what the hell am I doing here? It's tough on your body. The general population, I think, kind of relates to what you're moving. Either it's a car or a stone or whatever, but maybe they don't really understand how hard it is to prepare for it until they look at your body and your arms are torn up from lifting stones and you don't have any skin on your hands. But when it's all done, you know, you kind of appreciate that you're able to do it. You know, it's a special group of people that can do this sport, and it's not very big. It's not a large percentage of the population. So I think anytime you find that you're good at something and you're at the top of your sport, you tend not to want to give it up.
Well, they don't teach this on an American football field. 16,000 pounds of truck that Mark Philippi's got to drag 25 metres. And remember, Philippi nursing an injured quad. He pulled a muscle in his left leg, and I wonder if that's going to affect him.
Well, one of the things they do in American football, of course, is the bear crawl, teaching the lineman how to drive low and hard. And of course, he's got huge arms as well. He'll utilize those well on this rope.
He's got that truck moving, and it's going well. Little stutter steps from Philippi. Keeping his momentum. The worst thing you can do is lose that momentum, because you won't start it again. He's going to struggle to beat 37, and it's starting to fall away from him a little bit. Thought at one point he had a shot at the 37, but he's not going to make that.
Come on, man.
Well, he's taking such short steps, isn't he? I think it's that injury. He can't really take a long step and use his quad heavily. He just has to use body weight and arms at the moment.
Yes, and you wonder if that has made the difference. Mark Philippi more than 10 seconds outside Elbrus Nigmatulin's time. He'll have to settle for that.
Well, it's so disappointing, that injury in the squat. I hope he recovers in time for the finals, if, of course, he can make it.
The conditions are a little bit slippery today with a wet surface. What are your feelings on that?
You know, every strongman has done truck pull in the rain, so everybody should be used to it. I got my special wall climbing shoes for extra grip, and they're pretty good even though it's wet, so it'll be good. No worries.
Are you looking to the Icelandic gods to take you through?
Yeah, of course. Thor. Yeah, power.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Well, Elbrus Nigmatulin must be a very worried man. He's in the lead, but he's got Thor coming up next. Thor and Boris Haraldsson together. That could be a lethal combination. Let's see if the Icelander can draw on those Nordic gods and get him over the finishing line ahead of the Russian.
He has got a track and field background as well, so you know he's got speed. Anyone who's done a lot of shot putting, discus throwing, and a bit of the Highland Games. But I tell you what, he was talking about it not slipping, but that's twice there that he's had a slip.
But he's kept his momentum, and look at the angle of his back. He's getting absolutely everything into this.
Well, Nick, I think he's far too upright there. He's not really parallel with the ground. We saw Philippi absolutely perfect, straight as an arrow looking forward, but Boris right upright, not very experienced in truck pulling, and I think it's going to be a hindrance.
Well, it's a hindrance against Nigmatulin, but can he beat Ralph Baer's 40.46? And look at that. If that timing is accurate, he's missed second spot by 1/100th of a second.
Hello! Icelandic power!
Well, I don't think he knows quite how close he was to second place. 1/100th of a second. Haraldsson has to settle for third.
Well, sport is all about fine margins, and in strongman's terms, they don't come much finer than that. 1/100th of a second, depriving Haraldsson of second spot, but Nigmatulin a convincing winner.
Boris, you were 0.100th of a second behind Ralph Baer in the truck pull. And now you set a half a point behind Mark Philippi. There's 2 events left, the Atlas Stones and the Fingal Fingers. What's your plan on making it up and gaining a spot to go into the finals?
I was very unlucky with the truck pull, 0.01 seconds. It's faster than a blink of an eye. I'm only trailing by half a point. I was trailing Philippi by 1.5, so I actually gained up on his lead. But I'll do my best then. My chances are as good as anyone else. I'll just talk to the gods of Iceland, Thor, and ask him to give me some extra power for the fingers and the Atlas Stones.
Well, with Thor and your attitude, you look like you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
It looks as though Baer almost has 1 foot in the final already. He's got a 4.5 point lead with just 2 events to go. Will the gods of Iceland help Haraldsson make it to second spot?
So 2 events left. And next up, the Fingal Fingers. Well, the rules for the fingers, 75-second time limit. Those fingers go up in weight, and all 5 of them have got to be turned or flipped through 180 degrees. Well, Solbatai, sadly for him, found the going tough once again, and the newcomer to the world's strongest man had to settle for just 2 fingers. He nearly got the third. The big man from Iran had to settle for 2. So it's Boris Haraldsson and Mark Philippi going head-to-head, just half a point separating second and fourth. And these are 2 of the fellas that are locked in a deadly rivalry. Ralph Baer in the lead with a healthy cushion as well, but only 1 man can join him in the final. So who can get the early initiative here? Haraldsson. Looks like he's got the fast start, and Philippi looked like he might have been struggling as early as that very first finger. Haraldsson certainly got the jump on him. 2 done very easily, and Philippi is really suffering.
Well, I saw Pudzianowski speaking with Mark Philippi earlier. Philippi desperately trying to try out new techniques, just doesn't understand how to turn these over. You can see bending his arms there. That's a no-no straight away, but this is impressive from the newcomer Boris.
Both of them putting everything into it, but Haraldsson has got the fourth one down. Philippi is going to get the third, but that seemed to have taken everything out of him. Can the American find anything else? Can indeed Haraldson find anything else? Those last two fingers each seemed to be the bottom of the well for both these fellas. It's going to be a real struggle from here, and that clock is ticking as well. Haraldson desperately trying to keep it going. Philippi looks like he's run out of gas completely, and so too has Haraldson. That's as far as it goes for the man from Iceland, and Philippi's going no further. Although he won't give up, but that's the end of the line for him.
When he's going for the shoulder shunting method, and that really does hurt, and to be honest, doesn't work very well. He's got huge, strong legs, but we know they're injured.
Well, in the overall picture, that's really bad news for Mark Philippi. Boris Haraldson will move past him, whatever happens now.
The Icelander there putting in a good time, good result. Managed to hold form there. Nice straight arms driving through the finger each time, using his leg power rather than trying to press it. And that's where Philippi came unstuck. He just couldn't use his legs. They're injured.
So up from Ralph Baer and Elbrus Nigmatulin. Ralph, the man who has yet to qualify for a final, is Nigmatulin. Currently tied for second, but Baer at the moment looking good. He's missed out before, heartbreakingly, on both previous occasions by just half a point. Is it third time lucky for the Austrian? Well, a good fingers here will confirm that Ralph Baer will be through to the final, but it's Nigmatulin that's off to the fast start.
Well, one of the things that has to be taken into account now is who is the fittest as much as anything. We've had the brutal squat event, the overhead press, so all of the muscles you use in Fingal's fingers have been taxed already.
This, Colin, really good news for Elbrus Nigmatulin. His time is very good as we get to this fourth finger. Baer's going okay too, but Nigmatulin's got a chance to confirm second place overall. Move past Haraldson and Philippi. And a fifth finger here will definitely do it for him. And Ralph Baer's doing pretty well as well, so he'll consolidate his position at the top of the leaderboard. But Nigmatulin knows he's made a big move with the fingers. He wins, and that will definitely push him up to second place overall, but Baer will still be in front.
There's very few men who've ever done the five fingers in the history of strongman. This is one of the shortest as well, which makes it even more impressive. So determined is Nigmatulin, and you know he doesn't have the kit back at home to train on either. This arm wrestler is really proving to be a tough guy.
Well, a hugely significant win there for Nigmatulin ahead of Haraldson and Baer. Worth saying at this point that Sol Bataille sustained a shoulder injury in trying to lift those fingers, and that really has cooked his goose. But for the Austrian Ralph Baer, a very proud moment. Through to the final, and there's still one event to go. And there's confirmation of him making it through to the World's Strongest Man final for the first time, but Nigmatulin, Haraldson and Philippi would still like to be joining him there. And so, as the big man from Vienna waltzes into the final, it's time for him to reflect on a lifetime's ambition achieved.
Well, you've missed out two events by half a point. You must be proud to be able to make it to the final.
I'm very proud. I'm very proud to come to the final. The Morocco and Zambia was very good teachers for me. I'm very nervous in this booth competition, and I make a lot of stupid things. And now I'm older, 7 years older, and have more experience. I'm competing 20 times a year, and I'm very proud to represent Austria in the final.
Well, good luck.
Thank you very much.
So Ralph Baer through to the final, but only one man can join him. The Atlas stones will determine who. 5 stones of ascending weights. 75-second time limit to get those stones on those columns. Mark Philippi knows he needs a miracle. He needs to win and then hope that everything else falls into place. Realistically, his chances are remote, but how wonderful for Ralph Baer. Inspired perhaps by his baby daughter. Through to the World's Strongest Man final at the third time of asking.
Take your positions.
This icing on the cake for him. But Philippi needs to have a flyer.
Not really the right body shape for this either, Mark Philippi. Very squat, thick chest, short arms. Good for powerlifting and bench pressing, but bad for getting your arms around those giant stones.
Well, the American doing okay so far, as Baer is perhaps taking it easy, knowing that he's safely through. Philippi, of course, absolutely blasting through these stones. The heaviest is last. Baer is just taking his time, and Philippi has got there. Good time, 36.41. Will it be enough? Realistically, though, it's not going to work for Mark Philippi because he needed Baer to finish second to push the others down, and Baer has just Baer's decided, you know what, I've done enough work, I'm through to the final, let's leave it at that.
Quite a sensible option, really. You can see his left arm taped up there, bicep hurting a little bit, but he's not one to walk away, is he? That's for sure. Wants to give the crowd a show.
Yes, he is. He's thought better of it. Vicky Hurdy there, Colin, and thought, I'm not going to give up. And then he thought, oh yeah, maybe I will. Philippi, 36.41.
Well, his first few stones absolutely flew up, which is surprising. Normally the really tall athletes find it easy there. But I have to say, it was determination from the 40-year-old man. He wants to get to the final. He knows this might be his last chance of winning the big one.
Well, the American will be hoping both these two fellas have a complete collapse. And for Haraldson on the left, the equation is very simple. He needs to beat Mark Philippi's time of 36.41, and then he has to hope that Elbrus Nigmatulin finishes with a slower time than the American. Nigmatulin must come third.
Take your positions.
So Haraldson will look back, I'm sure, at that truck pull when he missed out on second spot by 1/100th of a second. What a difference that could have made to the Icelanders' campaign here. Nigmatulin going well. Haraldson's got the lead. 36.41 is the key time, remember. Haraldson's got to beat that and hope that Nigmatulin fails to beat it. And Haraldsson slowed there. But Nigmatulin dropped that fifth stone so Haraldsson can get ahead of him here. 36.41, the key time from Philippi, remember, and they've both landed in. That's a photo finish, but it won't matter for Boris Haraldsson because he needed Nigmatulin to finish slower than Philippi, and Philippi finished with 36.41, so the Russian has beaten that, and it means he will claim second spot, whatever.
But Nick, it was close there. He slipped the first time he went up to that stone, the Russian, and he could have just struggled to get it on at all. For Haraldsson, at least he knows he was better than Nigmatulin in the stones, and perhaps it makes up for that tough call in the truck pull.
We're talking such tiny margins here, aren't we? 1/100th of a second in the truck pull, 400ths of a second here in the Atlas stones. But it wasn't good enough for Haraldsson because Nigmatulin is the man who goes through to the final for the very first time. And also a debutant in the final will be Ralf Baer from Austria. Already there waiting for them, Jarek Dymek of Poland and Dominik Filiu of Canada. But a few split seconds here and there denied the Icelandic pocket battleship.
Boris, great performance. The Icelandic god will be proud.
Thanks. But next year, it won't be luck. I'll come back bigger, better, stronger, faster, and then the Viking power will show.
So, 3 Europeans and 1 North American are through to the final already as we head towards Heat 3 and the arrival in the competition of the biggest name of them all, twice the world's strongest man, Mariusz Pudzianowski of Poland. We'll see you next time.